How you doing? This is Vic with Vic's Exotic Morphos, and today I'm going to do like a quick impromptu video of my pitfalls coming into the boa breeding hobby. I've been a keeper for a while. I want to try my hand at breeding because I want to produce some of the more expensive morph combos that were kind of out of my budget. But y'all just want to talk about some of the pitfalls that I had no idea that I would come. I didn't even think about it. When I started, getting my boas and having my aspirations of breeding. But I've had a few boas to pass, and it's a tough thing to deal with. When you get them as babies and you watch them grow up, and then just out of nowhere, things happen. I've had one of my male sun glows probably about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. He had a piece of bedding get stuck in the roof of his mouth and it got infected. I took him to the vet and got it treated and had him on antibiotics, but it didn't help. He passed. And then a couple years later, um, I tried my first attempt at pairing another male sun glow I had up with an anatheristic het call albino female that I had, which was Storm. And for some reason, his cloaca got infected. And I took him to the vet and they had no idea what it was. They did like an x-ray of the area. They said they didn't see any structural damage, but the only way to find out, to get any more information, they would have to do some kind of procedure. And it was a real costly procedure. But they said that they would give him antibiotics and see if that would help. So we tried that. He got a 30-day supply of antibiotics that I administered him, and he didn't make it. And then recently, my anatheristic type 1 female, she got a respiratory infection. Now, I knew about the respiratory infections, and I didn't have any idea how she got one, because, I keep all of my snakes pretty much, in the same husbandry. But I took her to the vet, and, they gave me the antibiotics to administer to her. And when I got to her last dose, I think it was a few days later when I was getting ready to feed, I found her dead. And that was a slap in the face. I really thought that she was recovering. And she was one of my females that I was looking to breed this year. And just recently I lost Cleopatra, my hypomelanistic female. She was the oldest boy that I had. She was like 6 years old. And at first she just went off feed for like 3 months. I would offer her food, she wouldn't take, and I had no idea what was going on. I just figured, that maybe she was going into her little breeding stage and she was going off feed. But after the second month, I started getting worried. I took her to the vet, and they didn't see anything that was wrong with her. I thought she didn't show any signs of respiratory infection, but I took her to get checked anyway, and they said they didn't see anything. So we brought her back home, and they said maybe she was just breeding season, and she was off feed. Well, I started doing some research, and they said I came across something about she may be impacted. So I went in and I tried some things. She didn't seem to be impacted, but I soaked her in some warm water, let her sit for about 30 minutes, and she did pass some urates. So I thought, that did her some good. And I tried to feed her. Maybe about 3 or 4 days later, she refused food. So she was on month 3 without eating. A couple of days later, I tried soaking her again. But she didn't pass anything, so I figured, she was okay. Well, a couple of days later, I went to do my little water routine, and she had passed. So I mean, I don't know what the deal was with that. I I think I did all that I was supposed to do. I researched, tried to look things up, but things happen, and it was a pretty big blow. I mean, I've lost two adult females in the last what 3.5 months, and it's really set me back. Now I have one. I have quite a. I still have one, two, three, four adult females, and I have four adult males. Well, I'm juvenile. I would say sub-adult, because this fella here, he's just now going to be 2 years old. January, February, March, April. Yeah, May the 5th, he'll be 2 years old. But I got three others that are about 3 years old, and I actually got two of them paired with females now. And I got my fingers crossed, hoping that it'll be successful. But yes, it was tough. No one wants to lose a pet, and they're not um, breeding specimens just for money. No, they're specimens that I chose because I like them, and they were personally picked for my personal reasons. And so, but yeah, I just want to give a little some personal insight on the pitfalls that I've had. I had the infection from a wound from substrate being caught in the roof of one of their mouths. I had one get an infection in the cloaca and he passed. And then the other one, I guess she passed from her respiratory infection that she didn't recover from. And the last one was a total mystery. I still don't know what the issue was with that. But all my other boas seem to be pretty healthy. And again, this here is Pharaoh. And Pharaoh again is an IMG. He's a hypo IMG, and he's hit for call albino. And again, this fella here was born 5/5/2024. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.